Today we travel to the south side of Nairobi where we meet Elizabeth, who specializes in selling seafood. Seafood is not a common dish in Kenyan homes, but Elizabeth is making it so.
My name is Elizabeth Wanjiru and I'm a seafood seller in Nairobi. We sell wholesale and retail. Seafood is most products that we get from the Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, and some good examples would be sea fish. That means those are salty water fish. Then we have crustaceans like lobsters, prawns, and then we have octopus, calamari. Yes.
It's not every day, anywhere, you come across a seafood business. It's a unique type of business to start.
Seafood because that is what I know. I was born in Mombasa and I grew up in Mombasa. And seafood for us is like we have seafood as a snack. Like how in Nairobi you find maybe mutura or roasted maize by the roadside. That's what we know seafood for. You can just find it and get it readily available. So when I was working in Nairobi and my income was not enough and I was really struggling to make a living. So the first thing I thought of was just to sell something and to sell something that I actually know about. Also, seafood is unique in Nairobi. Not most people know seafood, or at least the people who do, they would have had to have traveled into other locations, and then you get the taste is acquired. So you have to have tried it somewhere at the coast so that you look for it in Nairobi. Yes.
But who buys seafood? Which homes do you bump in and they serve you an octopus?
Nairobi is a very cosmopolitan town. So that means that we have foreigners living here, we have other cultures, and we also have people who specifically come from the coast. So I'd like to say that when I started this business, most people did not know what I was selling and did not understand it. But as the years are going by, people are acquiring the taste of seafood, especially people who have traveled. So our market for seafood is constantly growing. But before Kenyans were really enjoying and accepting seafood like prawns, octopus, calamari, most of our clients were Indians, Europeans, Americans, and such people. And of course, people who come from coastal towns and are living here. But that's why we make the videos. We usually make videos with recipes so that people can accommodate their thoughts and even try to cook seafood at home. Yeah.
Convincing people who haven't had seafood before is not easy, but Elizabeth was up to the task.
Growing a small business, of course, the first challenge is getting people to buy your product so that you can make some income and that you buy more stock and so on. But another major challenge was that yes, you'd like to sell a client maybe a lobster, but then they don't know how to cook it. And if they'd ever tried it before, it's in a restaurant and it was already cooked. So then I had this idea to be sharing videos while we are preparing the food. When we are cooking it at home, when I go to a restaurant myself, I take videos. And this has really made people grow more comfortable to buy new things from us. Because on our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, or even WhatsApp, we share videos on how to handle and cook seafood and what to pair it so that you can get the best experience. Yeah.
Most people have only come across seafood in high-end restaurants or in movies. You don't come across it in any of your local food joints.
One of the things actually that inspired me to sell seafood is that people think seafood is expensive for one. So I really wanted to demystify this because even when I was starting the business, my friends used to think, oh, so you eat seafood, that means you have a lot of money. So the idea that seafood is expensive, yes, it's true, it's not the cheapest, it's actually more expensive than meat and chicken. So the business requires a lot of capital for you to be able to buy an item so that you can sell it. Actually, my first capital was 10,000 shillings and I had gotten the orders from a couple of friends. It wasn't much, I think it was about maybe 7 or 8 kilos of product and I had pre-orders. And I got this loan from my family after I explained to them that the money I was making in Nairobi, I was barely surviving. and I hadn't even saved anything put aside so that I can start the business. So yes, my mom and my dad, they gave me 10,000 shillings, and that's how I bought my first few kilos to sell to close friends. Yeah.
Seafood is ranked as one of the most nutritious food.
The good thing about seafood, if you compare it to meat and chicken, other than the fact that it's a more lean protein, if you're looking into eating healthier and less fat, saturated fats, the other good thing is that there's a whole lot of variety. From what we get in lakes, what we get in rivers, and what we get in the ocean, the tastes are different. Some fish are saltier. Some fish have more omega-3. Some fish are very bony. Some fish are very steaky. So, like, it will take you even years to actually get to sample everything. And I think that's the most interesting thing, because you don't get bored eating seafood. You have a gentle flavor. You have a strong flavor. You have some things which are bony, and then also the methods of cooking. There's some fish you can bake. There's some fish you can grill. There's some fish which are great for boiling to make soup. So there's just a lot of adventure in seafood. Yes.
To be a reliable seller of seafood, you got to have a convenient source, somewhere you can get your supply easily.
So as I had told you earlier, most seafood comes from the sea. And of course, there's no sea in Nairobi. So along the coast of Kenya, that is Mombasa, Malindi, Shimoni, Kilifi, Lamu, even up to Tanzania, that's where we get our product. So we have gotten to have a good relationship with suppliers, and they get specific products from different shores and creeks, and then they send us to Nairobi via cooler boxes. So we get different products from different locations, but still along the coast of Kenya. Yes, there's a lot going on with the seafood business. That means there are people who own boats, there are people who work on boats, there are people who are middlemen in selling seafood, and then there's people who buy to sell in wholesale, in bulk, and there are people who buy to sell in retail. So you see, like, there's a whole chain which you can't really avoid or ignore. So what I do myself, especially to be safe about quality and size, I allow to have an intermediary, someone who can go out to sea, someone who is a local and has good relationship with the fishermen. Since in Nairobi, the people who enjoy seafood, they are very specific about what they want, about the sizes, even the colors sometimes. Somebody wants something which is a specific color for whatever culinary reason they have. So I allow to have someone between me and the fisherman, or even two people sometimes, so that they can source for me the exact size of things that I need. But it also needs me to go down to the coast most times, because you need to maintain the relationship. You have to meet the people who are supplying you, and also because we are telling seafood stories, I like to show people where their food is coming from. That means they trust us more, because there's a lot of transparency in our operations. Yeah.
Seafood is quite a nutritious and delicious food. Maybe in the future, you will be served a grilled shark and ugali by Mama Kibanda.
Yeah, seafood is an acquired taste. That means not a lot of people here in Nairobi or upcountry have really gotten to try it, because it's not readily available. That's why you might find maybe there are not lots of seafood shops in Nairobi. But I can promise you that the market is growing, because people are traveling more, people want to eat healthier. So it just depends on us, the people who are selling, and what we are showing the clients. They have to be more comfortable to want to try something which is not chicken or meat, and maybe they've not even been to Mombasa or any other coastal town where the seafood is coming from. So there's potential, but it can only get better.
We are in a digital era. Most businesses are taking advantage of this to expand their market. Tam Tam Fresh Seafood is not left behind.
I'd say if it's not the internet, or if it's not for the online platform, I would not have a business at all, because it's very difficult to introduce either a new item to the market, or getting new clients to trust you and to buy from you again. Because if you do not have a shop, which I initially did not have, because I worked from my bedsitter where I was staying when I was still employed, and I sold fish from my house for 2 years. And the online platform is what really helped me to share what I have. So I have learned how to show a client exactly what I have, to take good pictures, to take pictures which can show the size of the item, and so clients get to trust this, because now we know that most people they prefer home deliveries because people are busy and they don't always have time to go out and source for products. Also, there's this other period which we had to stay at home. Everybody had to stay at home, and I think this is when my business really grew, because I had already started to perfect the art of sending home deliveries and sending them actually in good temperature and in good time, because seafood is very sensitive to temperature. So showing a client that I can deliver your food and have it taken care of in a way that it will get to you as fresh as possible, it got people to have a lot of confidence in my business. Yes.
Every business faces challenges, but every business has its specific challenges according to their products and services.
The special challenges that I face, especially because we deal with a product which is very sensitive to temperature, is that convincing a client that the product will get to you when it's as fresh as you would find it at the coast. That means from the time we're getting it from the sea, to the transportation, and to the storage in our freezers, and to the delivery that goes to the client, the temperature has to remain constant. And of course, this needs us to have insulated bags for delivery. This means that if you get a product, you cannot, the temperatures have to remain constant, so we have to use, the costs are high for transportation and for storage. But then this is how we keep the product really fresh. But then it's a challenge that I have gotten to I haven't really overcome it, but I learn every day how to get the freshest product to the client. Also getting a client to trust us to order from us for the first time. Clients have a lot of questions. They want to know where the product comes from. They want to know if it's sustainable. They want to know if that's the best price they can get. So I have learned to share all the information and be very transparent about our prices and our method of transportation. Another thing that we have, especially right now, the sales have come down rapidly, because I know everyone is having the challenge right now to get someone to buy something which is probably almost a luxury, because we don't eat seafood every day. It's not cheap. So right now, for me, I have to convince a client that you can have this in smaller portions. You don't have to have a big budget to enjoy seafood.
Starting a business in Kenya is not easy. It requires you to be relentless and focused.
Business has many aspects. Of course, we do business so that we can make money, but especially for young people, it's usually very difficult for us to start a business because of capital. So I like to tell other people who ask me about this, just find something you're passionate about, because if you're passionate, then the first thing that you want to start with is not capital, it's not money. You want to talk to people, you want to have a good relationship with your clients, you want your clients to trust you. Because even for myself, I started with maybe 2 products, and then clients keep asking me for more things, and sometimes I even ask them for a deposit for them to send me something so that I can be able to buy, because some items are expensive. So let it really not be a capital issue, but more importantly, for it to be a passion, for something that someone wants to learn and grow into. Right now, I think our list here is like maybe 50 plus products, and as I've told you, I started from 3-4 items. So every time a client asks me for something, I go out and research the item. I even taste it. I even take a video when I'm tasting it for the first time. Like for example, I think I tried catfish for the first time this year. I had never tried catfish all my life. Catfish is a river fish. Yes, and the first time I tried it was in Machakos. And you see, someone had asked me, actually a Nigerian client, because for them that's a local food. So they asked me about it. I went out, I sourced, and I tried it myself, and then I introduced it to the market, and now they are my clients. Yeah.
She left her employment and started her own business, and now she has employed at least 2 people.
I have a lot of friends who are employed, who are still employed, who I've grown up with, and most people are not happy with employment, especially because of the income. They are complaining that probably the income is not enough. You're not able to do something else on the side, so you're like a slave. You're employed, and you can only serve, the basic needs. Yet when you venture into business, it's even more difficult. But then in business, there's potential for growth, because if no one else is believing in you, you just believe in yourself, and you continue growing, and you stay focused in what you're doing. I'm not saying like there are no challenges in business. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. But I know one thing: if you stay consistent and be open to learn, there's a lot of potential for young people to do business here in Nairobi, and any other places for that matter. You can't. There's a big platform for young people, because we learn things very fast. We are open to try new ideas, and of course, I think the most important thing I can tell someone is always listen to your client, because the person who buys from you is the person who can give you feedback about the product, is the person who can let you know if you did it right or wrong. So just always, if you're selling a product, make sure you go back to the client and know what they think about it, and always be ready to learn and take criticism. And not always, people will not always have nice things to say, but then if you can wake up the next day and want to do better, you can strive in business.